Hello, everybody. It is your professor, Rocco, you boy, coming at you from a new camera angle. In this Age of Sigmar General class, we're going to be talking about the new FAQ errated. Games Workshop answered all their questions and left us wanting more. And sometimes we're like, okay, they answered it, cool. And then sometimes there's like, oh gosh, where'd they come up with that? And I'm gonna hit you with 5 things that stood out for me since everyone's talking about it and no one wants to talk about tactics. So we're going to go follow the trend. I'm memeing a little bit, but here's Rocco's top 5 things. He went, what? At the FAQ for you students here. Now, number one, this is also no slideshow. You, me, the camera. What's up? And I got my little watermark here, too. Right. Hi, little me. All right. Number one, that one battle plan. Savage gains. If you saw me recently on Warhammer Weekly, we talked about this as one of the things that was a question that needed to be answered because there's so many opinions on how you can score points in this battle plan. It's basically old Border War. So in my mind, because of how much I played Border War from the old core book, I'm like, of course, both objectives in the middle are each worth 2 points. I could see the argument for why people thought as long as you hold one of them, you just scored 2 points total. I get it. Games Workshop sided with me, so yeah, we're starting off with a small win here. That's what stood out to me. And this wasn't like a game-breaking thing, but you know, it's cool to be vindicated. And I would trade it for the second thing that stood out to me here. So next is there was a change in the core rules with an FAQ because a lot of people were trying to just ask if they could like, hey, if I redeploy, can I still shoot from Unleash Hell? And that's a no. That was always a no. It says it 10 times. Don't try to cheat. But there was a question that said if an ability allows a unit to receive a command without the command being issued and without the command point being spent, does the restriction that you cannot use the same command ability more than once still apply? Per phase. The answer is yes. All right, now let me tell you about some things about some of these battalions because there was like the new artillery battalion where it was you can either get +1 to hit or seemingly a free unleash hell. Their value just tanked horribly because people were using them before. It's like, oh, okay, so it's not counted as being issued, it's not counted as being a CP, and then the unit counts as having it been done on them, so they can't like the same unit can't unleash hell twice. But it let stuff see play. Um, like, is it a great idea to have my Stormcast Ballista that base hits on fives, hit on sixes for an Unleash Hell? But no, not at all. But if I have two of them doing it, because one does it for free, I might actually look at that battalion instead of how everyone's taking like a battle regiment and a warlord battalion and calling it done. Or just a battle regiment, or two battle regiments. Um, so list building's a little down, but more on a personal note. If people have seen me lament on Twitter, I was running Sisters of the Watch and Handgunners in my Cities of Sigmar, where before, in 2.0, they had a rule for standing and shooting. When someone entered a charge move within 3 of them, they got to shoot for free. They didn't have some of their other buffs, but they just got to do it. Some of these other buffs would be like the handgunners getting +1 to hit, the sisters getting double shots. Now, going into 3.0, their war scrolls got changed in the first big FAQ to say that they got a free Unleash Hell. It didn't cost a command point. It counted as being issued to them, but not to like the rest of the army. So I'm like, okay, cool. This is like a 3-step thing. My local TO was like, yeah, man, that's great. Same guy that said Savage Gains was good for scoring. I'm like, cool, man, we're doing great here. Unfortunately, that is not how Games Workshop ruled on that. So, my main competitive build got nuked again. But that's okay. That's why we play this game. Things change all the time. I'll get over it. It's not like Fulminators lost their shooting attack or anything, right? Right, guys? All right, point number 3 here. All right, the poor Sylvaneth trees. It's like their fifth change to Sylvaneth Wildwoods. I don't want to go into this more than I have to, but this is why I never was a Sylvaneth player. I used to be a Wood Elf player back in Fantasy. Loved it. Loved it. And, they got rid of the elves and then kept the tree spirits, and I was always on the elf side, so I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to buy like all these scenery pieces they play around. And then, they got the 2.0 book problems, and then you're like, And then they just kind of got fixed in the Broken Realm thing. And I was like, hey guys, I don't think this means you could have like three individual parts of trees when you summon a wild. That looks weird. And everyone's like, no, let's flood the board with trees. And so many people did it and became so obnoxious. Apparently, Games Workshop decided to do something about it. And I feel bad for them. I do, for the Sylvaneth players. I have played it a little bit. Not going to lie, I don't mean it. And so many things have changed back and forth. And the whole, can you teleport through the trees? Can you not? Is Games Workshop going to allow me to? For my allegiance abilities, it just feels so weird with how it was ruled on. I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. That's an FAQ that needs an FAQ again. That'll probably change the trees back to another version of trees that we didn't even know we didn't need. Poor Sylvaneth Wildwoods. Now, if you're keeping track, we've talked about Savage Gains. We've talked about the ability to have multiple abilities and commands go off for free that we apparently Games Workshop didn't want us to have fun. The poor Sylvaneth players got hurt. We could talk about something fun that's not game breaking. The ward save stacking is back, but not really. So Games Workshop has said that if you have a certain type of save after the save that isn't named a ward, you can have multiple of those with a ward save. Now, a lot of the old War Scrolls haven't been updated to say everything's a ward, even with some of these FAQs. And you can see the intention was for, like, some armies have, like, a bodyguard rule, where it's, like, you either have, like, the ward save, and then you could, like, shove the wound off to somebody on, like, a 2-up, or whatever the actual chain of events that is. And that's not what we're here to discuss. Different armies seem to do it different ways. But because of the wording of this FAQ answer, it seems like I could have like a 3-up armor save on my Frost Phoenix, the 4-up after save it has, give it the Amulet of Destiny for a 5-up ward, and then throw a 6-up after save from a Luminarch onto it, while probably healing a bunch, so the bird never even takes a wound. Even more so, did we need that? No. Will I personally be playing it that way? No. Will a bunch of other people play it that way because it's really cool and because you've only ever known 3rd edition, so you're like, yo, dude, this is sweet. Look what combo I came up with. Sure. And if we're all playing like that, maybe I'll dip my toe into it. But if it's someone where we're like, yeah, this is silly, right? I'm like, yeah, man, totally silly. Let's not do it. Yeah. We see each other's list, and I see they brought it. I'm like, okay, here's my real list. And then we move on. Hopefully, this gets addressed. If this is totally what was intended, this edition of monsters being written by heroes, being Hero Hammer, definitely is going to happen. That's very true. It's going to be a thing because it's going to be pretty awesome. But it could also lead to a lot of unkillable monsters that just solo a whole army for no reason. Next, and finally, the biggest thing that came to me is in the Tzeentch FAQ, the Pink Horrors got a brand new War Scroll. And I actually like it. I have, raise your hand and tell me on the bubblegum where the Tzeentch demons hurt you. But Tzeentch has been rough for since they got the new book. Tzeentch Archeon, Horrors, Flamers, Change Host. I've been run over by unnerfed Change Host enough. Nerf Change Host, nerf Change Host, nerf Flamers in a new Change Host, and then they dropped the Change Host, and now it's bad. This is a great step in the right direction because what the change effectively does is the unit's battle shock immune for each of the models that splits and splits again. So, like the first 30-ish wounds or whatever that the unit suffers, great. They don't matter. It's a tar pit. That's what a Tzeentch player always wanted anyway. In response, because they don't actually die, you can't bring them back from a command ability like Rally, the Emerald Life Swarm, all the different weird spells and combinations you could bring back pink horrors. Heck, the banner got changed to not bring back pink horrors anymore, because what would happen is someone would take like a block of 20 of them, it'd be 100 wounds that you'd have to kill base, but then you kept bringing back just raw pink horrors, not like you could bring back blues. Everything you brought back was a pink, because why wouldn't you? Which is why the ward stacking thing from the previous point, you can do it, why wouldn't you do it? So, effectively, 100 wounds of pink horrors would be like 300, and most lists in this game bring about 120-ish wounds to the table to start with. And your 400-ish points, 500-ish points brought like 200-ish wounds on its own. That's rough. So this change was necessary. I think it's still a really good change. I think pink horrors have a place in the army. They're decent shooting. They counted as a bajillion wounds when you cut through everything there. They're very points effective for what they do. And they also generate extra spell points, whatever their version of summoning is. You normally have to cast spells, and they do it off their banner to get an extra D3. So that can facilitate you summoning more pink horrors. So the ones that you cut out of your list freaking out like, oh no, this unit is balanced. Well, you can just summon more of them quicker, which is fine. Yeah. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, until the... Oh, yeah, wait, hold on. We're getting a thing in from production here. We will link the FAQ below. If you have any questions about the FAQ that just happened, and you don't get something that happened with your faction, feel free to ask. And also, as a note, there's actually a few factions like Flesh Eater Courts, my Ideneth Deepkin, Lumineth Realm Lords, I think one more currently at the time of recording this, that haven't even gotten an FAQ yet. So we got to be on the lookout for more of that. And also the Stormcast book and the Cruel Boys, Auric War Clans, whatever they're calling it. It's going to be on the horizon. We have a lot of good things coming for Warhammer, and this may seem like a lot of doom and gloom and reactionary stuff on the internet about all this. I know, I feel like I got a sour taste in my mouth saying all that. I'm even memeing myself here. But honestly, outside of like a Tzeentch Archaeon and maybe Marathi and a Gotrek, 3 units that are a little bit overtuned, Age of Sigmar isn't probably the best spot it's ever been. If you look at all the different tournament results, they're varied for the most part. Again, you see a lot of Daughters of Cain, you see a lot of Tzeentch Archaeons, you see some Seraphites, you see some LRL. But then you get like Phoenicium winning a tournament, or like Auric Warclans with a bunch of savage Auric boys coming at you. And you just get all of this variety coming through. And that's fun. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming to class today to my little lecture here. Like, subscribe. The word of the day is going to be flashlight. Flashlight. Get your head out of the gutter, people. And as I like to say at the end of all of my classes, class dismissed.